Cars is one of those franchises that seems like it still has a lot to offer us, and that's why it's so highly anticipated. The fourth movie of our favorite red car. The sad thing is that for Pixar, their sequels haven't been as successful as they expected, and this could mean the end for Lightning McQueen. That's why in this video we'll analyze how likely it is that they'll bring Cars 4 to the big screen. Will it be a total failure like Light or a new miracle like Puss in Boots was? Leave a like if you're really interested in seeing Cars 4, and maybe with this video we'll find out what the future of this movie will be. To begin with, several fans of Lightning McQueen have speculated various theories about what could happen with this possible movie. And what interests them the most is knowing what it could be about. Cars 1 and Cars 2 had quite different plots, but still, both were well received by the audience. Cars 3 unfortunately did not meet expectations, falling short of what was expected to be earned. This was because the plot was practically not as interesting as the gem that was Cars 1. But don't lose hope, friends, because even though Cars 3 wasn't what we expected, all of this could be an impressive twist. And Cars 4 could surprise us, since many people think that Cars 4 won't be set after Cars 3. But what if? What if it's the other way around? It would be really nice to see the fourth movie set in Radiator Springs long before Cars 1. If this were the case, the movie would give us a lot of explanations about several characters and could solve the big mystery that was left for us in Cars 2. And that is the death of Doug Hudson. Several people have decided to stick with the explanation that Doug Hudson simply didn't appear anymore because his voice actor passed away. So they decided not to include the character in the following movies anymore. But in fact, there's a theory that explains to us how Doug Hudson died. And it was so shocking that we're even preparing a video dedicated solely to that explanation. Besides this explanation, they could also give us a little glimpse of Lightning McQueen's past. How did Sally end up around Springs? Or even Doc Hudson's racing life. But anyway, how likely is it that Cars 4 will exist? Recently, big companies have had a lot of problems with their sequels because instead of bringing us something innovative, they end up ruining stories from our childhood. Proof of this is the recent announcement that there will indeed be a Shrek 5, which has caused a reaction from the audience. No, not in a good way, since everyone agrees that Shrek 5 is not necessary at all. I mean, almost nobody liked Shrek 4, and the same goes for Kung Fu Panda 4. Simply, there's no need to bring sequels that will leave us with a bad taste in our mouths, and Disney sure is an expert at this. Also, Pixar had previously announced that they would set aside all sequels to bring new projects that are magical. But apparently they can't quite agree, since they also announced a sequel for Inside Out. And let's be honest, Cars has many characters loved by both kids and adults, and even the new generations are delighted by Lightning McQueen. And this is very clear, since all the merchandise featuring the Cars characters is in high demand. We see t-shirts, mugs, notebooks, and not to mention the toys or video games. All of these are highly sought after by many people. And guess what? This could only mean one thing for Pixar. And yes, I mean a lot of money. So the possible release of Cars 4 would surely leave them with a good amount of cash in their pockets. Surprisingly, the series Cars on the Road was very well received by everyone in 2022. Although it's not completely related to any of the Cars movies. It had its own magic, which made a lot of people love it. And this series showed the possibility that they could bring Cars 4. The series was very successful, since it only cost $120 million to make and was able to bring in almost $385 million. That's not bad at all. It even beat Lightyear, and Lightyear was something highly anticipated. So the series isn't doing so badly compared to Cars 1. They invested the same amount of money and managed to collect the generous sum of $462 million. Cars 2 was not a failure despite popular belief. This movie managed to collect $582 million, although for Cars 3 this dropped to $383 million. We know that Planes was not as well received, but if they make Cars 4, I'm sure it will bring back very good memories, both for kids and adults, it made it one of the movies of... In 2016, there was a meeting with the Cars producers, but what was discussed is unknown. This also gives us hope that they might possibly be planning the development of its fourth installment. And as we said before, it seems to be a very good option. Cars merchandise has been one of the things that has brought them the most profit. Since in 2017, all Lightning McQueen toys managed to bring in approximately $1.5 billion. How do you think they're going to waste that? But even though everything points to the possibility of Cars 4, we have to take other aspects into account. Cars was a great franchise thanks to John Lasseter, and as we know today, Lasseter left Pixar. So if we get a new Cars movie, you can be sure it won't be the same. That's what he's afraid of. Pixar doesn't want to risk what happened with Lightyear happening again, even though he's one of the most beloved characters. Nobody liked it. And well, we know that Disney loves to ruin its own projects. Cars on the Road is going great, but if Disney is in charge of this possible installment, it will be very much in Disney style. They might just make something for Disney Plus, but not a big project to be shown in theaters since... Seater! This would be doomed to fail. And you might be wondering, what do we think about Cars 4? The truth is, for us, this sounds like a really good idea. Lightning McQueen is one of the most popular characters almost everywhere in the world. Both kids and adults like him. And Cars merchandise, along with the toys, are an excellent way to make a lot of money. If a new Cars movie comes out, you can be sure that kids, as well as collectors, will be the first to get the toys of these great characters. Also, it would be a good way to put Pixar to the test to show us what they're really made of. And of course, this includes not disappointing the biggest fans and of course, surprising the new generations. This movie could explain and answer some big questions that the other Cars movies and other movies left us with. Lightning McQueen from Doc Hudson. And finally, reveal how he died, death as a mystery that no one has been able to solve. Because come on, the fact that Paul Newman died is not a good ending nor a good explanation for the death of a great character like Doc Hudson. Without Hudson, McQueen wouldn't have changed. He would have remained the same selfish and arrogant racer we saw in Cars 1. Let us know in the comments if you would like to see the explanation of Doc's death in Cars 4. And finally, when would Cars 4 be released? Well friends, the truth is that this would be many years in the future because as we know, Pixar has a lot of projects going on right now. And possibly, if they started working on Cars 4 today, it would take about 3 to 4 years. So in reality, we don't know when it would have a release date, but if I had to give an estimate, it would be around 2026 or 2028. But anyway, friends, what do you think about Cars 4? Do you think it's a good idea to make it? We'll read your comments.